teach us how you are so slow in your tonality. Did you learn that or just are naturally like that? Ever since I dropped my 8 appointments in an hour video, that has been something that a lot of agents have been asking me about. It seems like a lot of you are interested in how slowly I speak on the phone. Okay, a slow tonality has a ton of benefits. Being able to speak slow and pause when you need to think about what you're going to say is extremely beneficial. It also comes across a certain way, which I'm going to get into in a bit. First, let's actually go into what does a fast pace of talking imply about you? What are you communicating by talking fast? And then what are you communicating by talking slow? By the nature of talking fast, like let's say you're in a social setting and there's a circle of people talking to each other. And there's one guy that talks slow and there's one guy that talks fast. What is being sub-communicated, AKA what's being communicated without verbally being communicated? What's being communicated by talking fast? Typically, talking fast, yes, nervous or unconfident. And in a social situation, like in a social setting, talking fast is like, it implies that you're gonna get cut off. So in order to not get cut off, you need to rush your words out. And by nature of that behavior, you're putting yourself at a lower value. Because what kind of person gets cut off? Well, you're of low value. You don't have anything important to say. You don't think you belong there. And so because you think that way, you're gonna rush to get your words out. How is the other person going to take that what you're sub-communicating, which is a nervousness, a lack of confidence, a lack of deserving to be there, the thought of I'm gonna get cut off so I need to rush my words out. How is someone going to just unconsciously receive that? Well, they're gonna take it negatively. They're not gonna take it in a positive way. They're gonna be like, something about this guy is off. Whereas the guy in the social situation that's able to talk slower, that guy has aura. That guy knows he's not going to get cut off. That guy belongs there. That guy has weight to his words where people will listen. And he knows that. So he can take his time with his words. That communicates a lot of confidence. That communicates a lot of aura. So now let's put this back into the context of how I speak on the phone. Yeah, I don't do it as a technique. I'm literally just thinking about what to say next. And I guess I take a while because, okay, you want to know what's going on in my head when I'm pausing like that? I'm like mentally envisioning, if I say what I'm about to say, what can I expect as a response? If I say this, how are they going to receive it? And what would their response be to that? I don't like that. Let me switch to a different route. If I say this, how can they receive that and respond? Okay, that's a lot better. But the last part of my sentence can be fixed because that last part of my sentence may put me in a corner where they won't respond in a favorable way. So then I'm going to revise this path I'm about to take and change that last part of that sentence. Now, if I say this, how are they going to perceive this and respond? What's the response going to be based on what I say? I like this one. I'm going to say this. And then what you hear is a byproduct. It's the result of what I'm thinking in my head. So in my head, I'm literally planning out my words and then the response of those words from their end based on what I understand about them. It's like, I teach this to my agents in the accelerator. It's like, when you play chess, when you get to a certain level, you can envision 3 steps ahead, 3 moves ahead. You can envision, if I move this, they'll move this, and then I can move this, and then they'll move this. Okay, maybe I shouldn't do that. Maybe I should move this, which would cause them to move this, which would cause me to move this, and then which would cause them to move that. Okay, I'll do that. Like, high-level chess players can think a few steps ahead. And I do the same thing in conversation. So, like, Yes, Roman, what I teach is a framework. There are like, if you understand the framework of how influencing someone works, if you understand the framework of how to lead someone to a conclusion, then, which is basically, checkmate to capture the king in chess. Influencing someone to a decision is literally chess. You have pieces on the board, you have different tactics and routes, and your goal is to capture their king, which is influencing them to make a decision. And so you can basically route your path of, if I say this, they're going to say that. I don't want that. If I say this, they're going to say that. I want that. And the reason for my pausing is to assess that. That is why I pause. I need to pause. I need to assess how are they going to take this and what response is this going to get me? Because on a phone call, you have a finite amount of questions to ask before they start getting irritated or start questioning what this call is about. And I'm trying to capture their king in the least amount of moves possible, while also ensuring none of my pieces get attacked, aka making sure they show up to the appointment. Because you can capture their king in the fewest amount of moves possible and risk all your pieces, aka them not showing up to the appointment. If I'm gonna capture their king, I want to make sure they show up to the appointment. As of for the entire month of January, I've set, it's the 27th right now. I've set 14 listing appointments and 11 showed up. 11 showed up. So, like, I have a very high show rate. I have a 79% show rate. And as of later today, my listing agreement signed rate is at 36%. I'll have 4 signed agreements for the month of January, listing agreements for the month of January as of today. If I'm going to set an appointment, I need to make sure they show up. And the map across analogy in chess is like, I'm making sure none of my pieces are attacked. I'm making sure all my pieces are alive. And I'm capturing their king. So yeah, you can't get to that point when you're using a script. Well, maybe you can. I'm sure you can. But it's probably not going to be the best way to do it. You're probably going to be lacking in the conversion rate somewhere.